Morning, Matthew. So my name is Solo, and I was originally born and raised in Mongolia, but I've been living in the States for the past 16 or so years. I think for me, it was a very natural process. I was raised bilingual on my mother tongue, Mongolian, and furthermore on Russian. And then after coming to the States, I picked up English within a heartbeat. And then in high school, I studied Japanese for 4 years approximately. And then now I'm in college, and I'm studying German as a major. So, and then from there, I had a lot of Korean friends in the Boston area where I grew up. So I picked up a few words from them. Boston is a very international, sort of a cosmopolitan city, at least within the United States. And I was always rubbing shoulders with people who spoke other languages, and I was fascinated by it. I think a lot of people in similar situations who grew up bilingual or multilingually can say that our personalities change depending on what languages we speak, and that we sort of shift and morph into different characters and personalities. And for me, there was a small proverb by a German philosopher that once said and translated into English, "The limits of my languages are the limits of my world." So from this perspective, I agree in the sense that the more languages I learn and the further I refine them, the further I'm able to broaden my horizons and so forth. Literally, the limits of what I can communicate and get around is limited to what I can speak. So, an expression of self, right? I think it's a force for good. It's a change and a force for good. Modern technology and communication systems allows us to connect with language speakers around the world who may or may not share our common language. And if so, then it enables us to decentralize, as opposed to say the ownership, because it enables not only the native speakers to learn and preserve it, but if possible, non-native speakers to suppose join the language group, for lack of better words. Last year, when I wrote this brief research paper for my university, I was able to look into it, and according to my research, from what I remember, the European Union as a intragovernmental institution has so far some of the most comprehensive infrastructure and resources in dealing with minority language preservation. We know that currently there are 27 official EU member states and well over 20, 30, 40 various languages in which the acquis communautaire, the accession agreement, is translated into, and essentially all the working documents from the EU has to be translated into the languages of the EU member states so that everyone is on the same page. And the EU itself is a massive linguistic undertaking in that regard. So they have the most resources, infrastructure, and human resources to develop and continue preserving minority languages. Whereas I've looked into further in Eastern Asia primarily, and I would have to admit that the People's Republic of China has some of the egregious, or perhaps some of the more undeveloped processes and capacities for minority language preservation. We know that there are a lot of ethnic minorities in the PRC that would like to maintain their native languages, but unfortunately are dissuaded by the central government there. So I learned about Langfest 3 years ago. I was a freshman. I was in my freshman year in college, and I heard about the International Polyglot Festival or Gathering. I can't remember which one, but it happened in the one in 2015 in New York City, and that's when I discovered this amazing world of polyglots who convene once a year around the world in these meetings and gatherings and symposiums. And then from there, the Montreal one was advertised, and thus I began to come or attend every year to Langfest. So I think this would be my third Langfest. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, third.
First time as a speaker?
First time as a speaker. Yeah, third time. I would say that I am fluent and literate in Mongolian, Russian, English, and I'm conversational in Japanese. Unfortunately, I've been beginning to forget a lot of my written Japanese, and currently I am studying German. So.